So Steve asked me to do a walkthrough, talk-through of my decision making on the flight to Annecy on the day of his accident. So let's get stuck in. On the day, it took till about 11 o'clock until the RV started to have a few wispies starting on it. So we checked the forecast, Cape forecast looked good. We checked other apps and they showed a probability of isolated showers. This had been the case for most of that week. And with that in mind, we got ourselves together and headed to launch. We got up to launch and not a lot was happening. People weren't really climbing out. There was a stable layer down low. In my eyes, there was no rush. It hadn't really switched on properly. As you can see, I'm sort of flying down this ridge and usually I'm getting hoovered up here. But it wasn't really happening. I was going in the gullies, normal triggers, none of it was kind of working. We were flying around this area for about an hour until we managed to sort of climb out. Steve got to a point where it was 100 foot from the landing field, found a climb and climbed all the way back up. It was a really tenacious bit of thermaling. He done really well there. And I thought to myself, okay, we're on. With altitude, everything got a bit easier, so we was able to drop onto the mountain behind the launch. We made good progress, and when we got here, we got ourselves in a position to do the transition to the RV. It was seriously hard work down low and extremely sweaty, so it was nice to get up and drift around with this cloud, getting ready for the transition. That was sticky as cloud. So the glide over to Point Percy was quite sinky, and I got there expected to be hoovered up on the way and wasn't really happening, and I was scratching around, so I decided to push out, fly into this gully where I found a nice climb and started to make my way up so I could then cross over to the RV. The guys were doing well, they were sort of getting themselves established, and I thought, once again, we're game on. So I'm transitioning now from the climb and I'm gliding over to the RV. If you look at this is a cull. The left hand side is stripped of all snow, right hand side has got snow in it. So that tells me the left side is more into sun, because that's why the snow's melted, and also more warm air is probably coming up that side. So I'll position myself to give myself the best chance. Left shoulder, Stevie. So now I'm on the main ridge. Steve's at 1 o'clock high and I'm trucking along here, and ordinarily I'll be going up at like 2 meters a second. This whole area has been in sunshine since 8 o'clock this morning, but it wasn't really working, and I was just trucking along and hopefully I was going to run into a thermal along the way. I was having a lot of frustration on this trip because I did some adjustments to the harness which felt great in the hangar but was shit when I was actually flying it. This meant obviously as the guys were pushing hard I was falling behind, so they became a pair and I was on my own. I couldn't get hold of the guys on the radio, and as I come to the cold RV, this is what I was confronted with. Here it is, the crux, the elephant in the room. If I want to proceed, I have to try and find a way of working around that mess right in front of me. Option 1 is my favoured option. Reason being is the sky looks better, it's a lot more opened up over that side, the sun getting through. I would also be more protected on the left hand side of the mountain if the cloud on the right hand side let go. Going to the left gives me multiple escape routes. Option 2 is a no-no. If that was my only option, I'd turn around and land. Even if I thought that I might be able to just sneak under that cloud, the reality of it is it's going to take me 10 minutes to get there. I've got to fly right over the colder RV. That's the point of no return potentially if that cloud lets go. The escape routes are very minimal. It was also shady. There was nothing there for me. I had no desire to go in there at all. It's really important that you recognise a crux when you come across it. And if you haven't got an answer, you haven't got a good, safe, solid route, then bin it. Just turn around and fly back. I hatched a plan, obviously option 1, but I did set out some very strict rules that I was going to adhere to, and I'll explain that now. So for me to carry on, what I really need to do is find a climb on this nice big wall of granite to the right hand side and get myself to base, because I want to look where I'm going to transition to and make sure that the plan I had to fly that side is still valid. I can see the terrain, I can see what the clouds are doing, I can assess what my escape routes are if the plan doesn't work out. I don't get myself in a situation where I'm going to snooker myself. There are so many decisions you have to make when you're flying cross country. So it's important that you know when to slow down, take stock, look at the bigger picture, and remember, the plan is only the plan if it remains doable. If at any point executing this plan I felt like it was going to shit, I would ditch it and go and land. I managed to get to base and verified everything that I thought it was going to be over that side. As you can see, there's some nice big valleys right out front, and I'm flying now over to the sunny side and put myself over the top of these triggers to find myself a nice climb. As you can see, on the other side of the mountain is just now cloud burst over that other side. I flew into here sort of thinking I was going to catch up with the guys, but it's not unusual if you do get split up, you end up catching up with the guys 10 minutes later. So this here is the move. I've flown over to the sunny side. I don't want to be thermaling anywhere near that mountain. I'm quite a way away from it. I'm climbing up, and as I'm climbing, I'm starting to manoeuvre myself to the outside of the cloud, because if that cloud I'm under starts to look a bit more threatening, I can just fly away and bail out. So the plan now is to take this pretty much all the way to base and then run the clouds all the way into Marlin. I was getting a little bit concerned now, thinking to myself, I hope those guys ain't in that rain. And I'm looking for them, shouting out on the radio, and not getting anything, can't see nothing. You guys ain't getting rained on, are ya? The fact that we got split up had a massive contributing factor to what happened that day. It's so important that you try and fly as a group. You know, you've got more people working the problem. It's easy to get excited and push on and maybe follow other people into a sort of situation, but you have to listen to your gut. And if you're unsure, you know, just slow down, let everyone catch up and sort of say, what do you think? Or if you don't like something, say, I don't like that, what does everyone think? So I'm executing the next part of the plan, which is to skirt along the edge of these clouds and push on. And all the time I'm going along, I'm chatting on the radio, looking for him. One of the pilots had a wing that's not very visible. Steve Barnetts was a little bit easy to see, but I still couldn't see him. So I'm flying fast now. I only really want to turn when I need to. And I'm putting myself in the best position so I can try and get over the end of the RV quite quickly, so I can peek over the top and see if the guys were down below. All the time I'm on the radio and getting no sort of response. I'm trying to be positive. The guys were pushing hard earlier, but there was a feeling inside that I thought, well, I'm flying really fast now. There's a good chance I should be seeing them. They may have landed because of rain. I'm now gliding into Marlin. To the left of the pod is the Marlin site. You may fly there if you fly the Annecy region. It's a morning site. And still I'm not turning. I'm just pushing. I'm looking everywhere and I can't see them. So the next thing is I'm thinking to myself, well, maybe they have really gunned it. So the plan is now, hopefully I'll catch up with the guys crossing this ridge. I cross where I do because I'm not in the influence of the valley wind. If I was to cross lower down to the left, I would get smacked by some serious lee side rotor from the valley wind. I fly into this gully, there's a little bit of sun, it's sunny down below, and it wasn't feeding anything. So I'm sort of circling around, looking at my options, and really heading up to the Tornet there. It's covered in cloud, and it's quite committed going up that way. So I point my glider to a place on this ridge where if it wasn't working or I end up hitting a bit of valley wind, I can just turn to the left, fly away and land safely. So now I'm running up the ridge to head up to Forclaz. All the time I'm on the radio. If they were in the landing field, the Doorside landing fields to the left of me, they would hear me on the net, but there was no callback. So the last thing really I had to do before I decided to skip it was to basically fly up to Forklar, have a look round there, get on the radio because I was in full line of sight pretty much of the whole valley, and if I hear nothing from them there, then yeah, they've definitely landed. Now the elephant in the room is that cloud over the Tornet, which is the back of Forklar. You know, that one's looking menacing as well. And this is the thing. This is how it works. You know, if there's a risk of showers, they're going to be on the biggest lumps. What really shocked me, you know, flying around there with that cloud, was that people were still taking off. You know, when you're in Annecy, just because you see people flying, it does not mean it's flyable. Look at that cloud now. That looks pretty threatening. And still, people are flying around in total ignorance. It's really important, you know, when you're flying in the mountains, you do remain extremely vigilant. Guys, it's only paragliding, and I think it's important that we remember that. I hope it's been helpful. Here I am coming into land, and the first thing I obviously do is go for my phone. I get 16 messages, and I get to find out about Stevie's accident.